you understand these issues, I can tell that you have been doing this for a very long time. Because, it comes with a very deep, comprehensive kind of and detailed kind of understanding. So how did you structure the different chapters to address this issue? Yeah.
So the chapters, because I'm still a political scientist,
Yes.
and it's a Cambridge book. So you have the theory of voter exit, and the contribution is that I'm thinking of voter exit as migration, right? So people leaving, people voting with their feet. I'm thinking of, so you start off with the introduction, and I really wanted readers to get a sense of where I'm coming from, right? And I wanted to take voters back to the 2000 election. And I was really little. I was 13, so not so little, but I was 13 and couldn't vote. But I remember that euphoria. I remember with my family, my older sisters going to vote. I remember the MDC red card, that the chinja, the energy in urban areas. And I wanted to take the voters back to say, okay, you've got this energy. You've got this opposition that has managed to unite black and white Zimbabweans, Mashonaland, Matebeleland, all sorts of groupings of people, farmers, farm workers, doctors, nurses, lawyers. You've united them, right? In a perfect world, this movement should defeat the ruling party. Yes. And they had in some ways with the referendum. So you started this conversation talking about the referendum. Yes. The 2000 referendum, right, for the constitution is possible because it is a litmus test for the opposition to show the support for the opposition, right? So I wanted to say to the reader, you've got this. And you've got all these other problems that generally shape how people vote, right? So you've got a good opposition. It's well-funded. It's strong. You've got an economy that's tanking, a frustrated middle class, frustrated rural voters that are also open. I mean, Changre was campaigning in rural areas, which we'd never seen before, right? So I say to the voter, why doesn't ZANU-PF lose? And it's not that ZANU-PF wins with big margins. ZANU-PF is holding on for dear life from 2000, holding on. What happens that allows ZANU-PF to just hold on a little bit longer? Well, the things that happen, so we move from the introduction, and then I start building my theory. And I say, well, this is what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is that you've got a party that's barely holding on. And then this pressure cooker, there's an opening, a tiny relief. So the same time that the opposition is hot, Zimbabweans start leaving. At some point you said many people were not leaving to go abroad. But in the early 2000s, 2002, we have this mass exodus. Again, remember I grew up in Hatfield, so the airport is kind of my playing ground as a child. Hundreds of people are leaving through the airport. The middle class, they're selling everything. And I remember in 2002, we got a nice new pair of sofas because my sister's white family friends were leaving. They were leaving, so we went and bought it, right? So people were selling everything just to buy a one-way ticket to England. And before 2004, you didn't need a visa as a Zimbabwean to enter the UK. So that's number one. Number two, there are parts of UK that absolutely need nurses. So I found out there was a hospital that lost all their nurses and all their doctors almost overnight.
Wow.
A couple of people went abroad. They got to some place. They said, hey, they need nurses. Call their friends. Friends, come. You're trained as a Zimbabwean. You automatically work when you get to the UK. Wow. See? So an entire nursing force. Teachers. So in high school, our teachers were going to South Africa. So I followed that when I'm doing the PhD. I go to these neighborhoods in Joburg, in Cape Town, where full of Zimbabwean professors. In fact, my first shock was the economics department at UCT. Top to bottom, white, black Zimbabweans. Yes. Wow. So our academics are leaving. Our professionals are leaving. And then you could cross over. And remember, my mother was a trader. So I was very familiar with the stories about border crossing. But the difference is that, when my mother, who sold Maduiri, right, they would trade, right, and come back home. Now you've got movement that's one-way street. And I would interview UZ students who said, you know what, I sold some things, I got some bus fare, crossed Limpopo, I figured I will figure it out when I get there.
Once I get there, yes.
Once I got there. So I walk you through my theory. It's a Hirschman Exit and Voice, which was about early pilgrimage, Europeans leaving to come to America, and how the English government was not bothered, or the monarchy was not bothered, because these are the people that irritated the monarchy. So when they were leaving, the monarchy said, go, bye-bye. The Zimbabwean government is not creating migration, but is also not stopping it effectively. In fact, what the government realizes, so I had the great fortune of interviewing people from the passport office. They said to me, we realized we could make money from passports. It didn't matter how much the passport cost, because people were still going to pay for the passport. That's why the passport office is one of our most efficient offices. One of our most efficient offices. They knew that you make it 250, you make it 300, you make it 350, people are still going to pay, right? So then the next chapter is, in fact, I start with the HIV, which was really motivated by visiting my young sister's grave. And as I was standing by her grave, I noticed there were graves of young children. Traditionally in Zimbabwe, you didn't have graves of adults next to graves of babies. But you see, it's so many deaths that the graves are now weaving into each other. And so the first part of the research on HIV was just counting at various cemeteries. I literally spent hours just looking at how old was this person when they died. And then thinking about my own family and engaging with that, and then getting like real formal data. So the next chapter is on HIV/AIDS, and then I start thinking about voting with your feet. There's a theory in political science about voting with your feet, which is you leave, right, as a form of expression of protest. And then in there, I talk about challenges for the Zimbabwean diaspora. As you mentioned, we don't have the right to vote from abroad. So that's one. Once you're gone, that's it. But number two, there were also citizenship issues, right? Before 2013, Zimbabweans could not be dual citizens. White Zimbabweans had other difficulties, because after the Citizenship Act of 2002, a lot of white Zimbabweans and a lot of black farm workers lost their citizenship. And so again, they wouldn't have been able to vote even if they wanted to. So then I look at that, and then chapter 5 is all about remittances, which I'm really excited for people to read. And then chapter 6 is pulling data. It's a lot of math, it's a lot of numbers, but where I show you in this election, so many people had left. So many people had left from this province. If this province had had those voters, and if those voters had been cut across political parties in this way, this is how the election would have come out. And consistently, I see the opposition winning had people not exited because they died or they left the country. So that's how the book comes together. It's actually not very long, given all the work that I do. Honestly, it's only 227 pages. So it's quite short. And that's the work that I do, and I put it all together.
That is amazing. I really want this book to get to the voters. I want it to get to as many people as possible, because it is actually a book for everybody.